when I first arrived at Minor White's house in the fall of 1970, the first job he gave me was to organize his photo library. And every night I would take books up to my room and I would fall asleep looking at these amazing pictures. And what immediately struck me about these pictures, some of which were quite well known, is that as known as the photographs were, nobody knew the people who made the photographs. They were anonymous. And somewhere almost starting at that point was the notion that maybe something I could explore was making pictures of the people who are always behind the lens, who are always anonymous, who you never know who made the picture. So through Minor, I met Imogene Cunningham. I photographed her. Later, I met Ansel Adams, but didn't photograph him until many years later. And eventually, when I moved to New York, I got an assignment from Life magazine in 1988 to photograph the grandes dames of photography. So it was all the great ladies. It was Bernice Abbott. It was Ruth Bernhard. At any rate, as we were doing all these great ladies, I went to the art director, Peter Howe, and I said, listen, Peter, I think we're doing reverse sexism because a lot of the great boys are still around. Why are we just concentrating only on the ladies? And he said, fine. So he sends me to Mexico to photograph Bravo, who is right here. He sends me to photograph Aaron Siskin up in Rhode Island. He sends me down to Atlanta to photograph Harry Callahan. And they run a small edition in the 150th anniversary of photography. They run a story that runs for 7 pages and includes a number of these portraits. And at that time, I am connected with an agency called Sigma. And Sigma at that time is very close to the people at Kodak. And Kodak sees the story and they come to me and they say, how would you like to go around the world and photograph any photographers you like, and we'll take care of it. And I said, what kind of a question is that? That's like a dream job. And that's how it started. For 2.5 years, they sent me to Japan, to Europe, to Latin America to photograph the great masters of photography. And in the book that Shermer Mosel then does in 2011, there's 101 photographers. Even though I had photographed probably 160 of them, it was a big edit job. And in 1990, this was a major exhibition in Photokina in Cologne. And it ran, I believe, from October 1990 for about 3 months maybe at that point. And then it traveled around Germany to museums until 1997. So these are pictures from that original exhibition and that original set of pictures. And what's really remarkable is when Kodak first started printing these, they were printing them as dye transfer prints through a printer in Hamburg. And doing dyes, you have to make an edition of at least 15 pictures. And Kodak began to realize this was going to get seriously expensive. So they created this paper specifically for this project that had a lot of the properties of the dye transfer. It had this very rich saturated color, and it had this incredible shelf life because these prints were made in 1989 and 1990, 23 and 24 years ago, and they look like they were printed yesterday. So Kodak really went to bat, and they produced 4 sets of these pictures. And 2 sets came to Europe to travel around, 2 sets came to me, and I'm still in shock at the quality of these things that have never sort of lost their incredible luminescence. So Kodak was more than kind to me, and thank you, Kodak gods.